with. It deals with the following questions like how to produce, for whom to produce, and what to produce. These are the basic economic problems and challenges that every economy deals with the way they produce and what they produce. There are 4 basic questions in economics. 1. Which goods are to be produced, which is what to produce. 2. How are the goods going to be produced? That one is dealing with the techniques and the methods of production to apply. 3. Who is going to get those goods and services that have been produced? And that one is dealing with whom, for whom to produce. Who are the people at the receiving hands at the marketplace to receive the goods produced? Or who are the people that demands for certain goods and services that are produced? And the last one, how change is going to be effected and accommodated in an economy. As time goes on, in the process of production, there are changes that will be affecting, that will be happening in the process of demanding and supplying, the process of market interaction. How are these changes going to be accommodated so that the economy will continue to flow effectively? Effectively, the structure of an economic system seeks to answer all these questions. That what has been produced, how is it going to reach the final consumer in order to satisfy their needs? The system set the rules of play for participants in an economy and define how they are going to interact with each other. So we have different types of economy, whereby there are different types and different methods of dealing with the resources in the economy and the production process in the economy. These types have different ways of dealing with these 4 basic questions that are major in every economy. Basically, there are 3 main economic systems, though many governments actually have their own peculiar systems which suit their own needs and their own aspiration, what they want to get. But consensus has not been reached that some of these new systems that they are bringing about that are so peculiar to each systems are going to be categorized as an entity. But they are still under these 3 basic economic systems that we have. The first one that we have is free market economy. Some people call it, some economists refer to it as capitalism. What are the characteristics and what are the features of this free market economy? Modern market economy employs what one would call a hand-off approach by the respective government. That is a type of system whereby the government of that particular economy will approach the economic situation like hand-off. Like the government of such economy will not have a hand on what is going on. It will just be like the controlling agent that will be watching and trying to guide in order to make the economy to be in good time. But when it comes to production process and meeting the allocating the resources in the economy, government have little or no role to play in such economy. This is to say that the government plays a rather minor role in the economy and only lay down some rules here and there to facilitate the business. Some rules that will be a guiding rules for the for the market agents that are in charge. Many world economy are essentially market economy. Markets enable mutual beneficial exchange between producers and the consumers. The producers and the consumers are in good contact. They interact at the marketplace in order to know what the consumers needs and what are the products that have been produced by the consumers. The system that rely on markets to solve the economic problem are what we refer to as market economy. That is, this market economy we are talking about, we have 2 major parts and 2 major agents in the market system, the producer and the consumers. The producers provides the goods and services that are needed by the consumer, and the consumer demands these goods and services for their own consumption in order to satisfy their needs. These are the major agents that are in charge, and they are the ones to determine what and what to produce, how to produce, and other economic questions. In a free market economy, resources are allocated through the interaction of free and self-directed market forces. Through interaction of free and self-directed market forces or market agents, which are the producers and the consumers. This means that what to produce is determined by the consumer. That is what the consumers desire, that they demand at the market, that the producer will deem fit to produce, because that is what the consumers needs at the moment, and that is the goods and services that will be accepted at the marketplace after the production. Therefore, that determination of what to produce will now be what the producers will work on, that these are these products that the consumers desires at the market. The second question of how to produce is determined by the producers. Producers already have the ideas of what the consumers desire in the market, what they want. They have the ideas of the demands. Therefore, they are the ones to go ahead with the production to know what and what to produce. In that case, what to produce is determined by the consumer, but the system, the method to use to bring out that production process is determined by the producer. Then who gets what to produce and what is being produced depends on the purchasing power of the consumers. After the producer must have produced goods and services and present all these goods and services at the marketplace, what and who will get what at the marketplace is determined by the purchasing power of the consumers. That is the purchasing power of the consumer, which is the money, material resources, is what will determine who will get what. After the producer have provided the goods at the marketplace, is the quantity of the goods that any consumers will get at the marketplace will be determined by the amount of money, the amount of cash, the amount of monetary resources that such consumers have at hand at the marketplace. Because the demand will not take place if there is no capability and ability of any consumer to acquire any goods and services at the marketplace. Therefore, the purchasing power of each consumer is what will determine who and who will get a particular product. For instance, if there is a particular product in the market and we have like 2 customers, for example, and customer A has lesser amount of money that of the price of the goods at the market, and customer B has the same or more than the amount of the price of the goods at the market. Therefore, the customer A will not be able to back up his desire to get such product at the market, but only customer B that will have the opportunity to get the money at the market, to get the product at the market, because he has enough purchasing power to get that product at the marketplace at that moment. Therefore, market economies work by allowing the direct interaction of consumers and producers who are pursuing their own self-interest, who are pursuing their own self-interest, and they want to satisfy their own desires and wants. The situation of the market economy is the one that has been illustrated in the diagram. The market economy needs to answer the 3 major questions that every economy needs to ask. The first one is what to produce. And like I said, what to produce is determined by the consumer's preference, by the consumer's demand and what they desire to buy, and they've presented their own desire of what they desire and what they want in the market. And this what to produce that has been determined by the consumer are what will propel the producers to answer the second question of how to produce. Now, the producer will be the one to determine the method that will be cost effective for them, that will be that will attract less cost of production to produce that goods that has been demanded by the consumer. And therefore, the second question of how to produce, of which method to use for the production, will be determined by the producer in order to make profit, because the higher the cost of production, the lower the profit. Therefore, every producer, an ideal producer, will always look for the method of production that will cost him less in the process of production in order to have enough profits at the end of the production. And for whom to produce, which is the third question, will be answered by the purchasing power of the consumers, by how much each consumer has at hand to purchase the particular product that has been produced by the producer. So these are the ways, the three questions have been illustrated in a diagram. Now, what are the features, the characteristics of this free market economy that can also be referred to as capitalism? 1. Right to private property. Individuals have the right to buy and own properties as long as he or she or these individuals have the capacity and the purchasing power to go ahead with this purchase and the ownership of such property. There is no limit, and they can own any amount of property. So far you have the money, as long as you have the money, then you can have as many as possible properties, you can own as many as possible businesses and enterprises in a free market economy. They also have legal right to use their property in any way they like. They can go ahead with any business, they can use their property to do anything that they want. So far it's